Hi loves! Super excited for today's book. We are going to read Jazz by Walter Dean Myers. This book is a little bit different. I don't know much about jazz, but we're going to learn about it together. I'm going to prop this book up because it's a little bit bigger, and I really want to make sure you can see these beautiful illustrations. Okay, that should do. This book is a little bit longer, and the introduction of this book is really great too. So I'm going to read that to you. To the children of New Orleans. When we use the term jazz, we are talking about an approach to music that is exciting and creative, one that relies on improvisation and spontaneity. American in its origins, today jazz is played throughout the world in performances that celebrate both the history of this rich music as well as its immediacy. There are many kinds of jazz: swing, bebop, cool jazz, fusion, and free jazz are just a few. But its fundamental premise remains the same: musicians composing something new as they perform. The jazz musician might begin with a well-known melody and then interpret it according to his or her own personality and musical training. In every instance, improvisation is a key element of jazz. The second major element of jazz is rhythm. Early jazz often served as dance music, but even as the music and performances grew increasingly complex and abstract, its strong rhythm continued to pull in the listener. A blending of two musical traditions, African and European, contributed to the development of jazz. African music, with its five-tone or pentatonic scales and complex rhythms, came to North America during the slave trade. In 1834, James R. Creasy described a black gathering in Congo Square in New Orleans. Groups of 50s and 100s may be seen in different sections of the square, with banjos, tom-toms, violins, jawbones, triangles, and various other instruments from which harsh or dulcet sounds may be extracted. By the end of the Civil War, there were many skilled black musicians, and black popular music quickly began dividing into several distinct styles. Gospel and spiritual music grew out of the black church. The blues flourished throughout the Deep South in informal clubs and parties. Early black musicians from the slave states, who had been forbidden to learn to read and write, usually played their instruments by ear. That is, they learned tunes and chords by listening and imitating others. What they heard, however, was not only African-influenced music, but the European music being played by white musicians. At the same time, white musicians heard black music and borrowed freely from it, using black harmonics and sometimes black scales. Black musicians did the same with European music, and soon popular music began to show a melding of these different traditions. The use of the African, or blues, scale and African rhythms changed the feel of European music and made it swing. The dance halls and small clubs in which most black musicians played allowed them more freedom and experimentation than they could have had in formal concert halls. Since so many black musicians were still not formally trained in reading musical notation, there had to be some way of knowing what the other players were going to do so that they could perform together. To solve this problem, these musicians began using European chord structures as the basis of their music. By understanding which chords would be played and in what order, musicians could stay within the same harmonic structure. A player could stray from the melody as originally composed and still make music that sounded as if it belonged to the same composition, if he or she were playing within the same chord structure as the others. Learning chord structures made American popular music, which was written and played in the European style, readily available to be played by these emerging artists. It also encouraged improvisation, because the players realized that the variations within the chord structures were often the most interesting part of the song or composition. Black musicians, still outside of the mainstream in American popular music as America entered the age of technology, took the lead in musical improvisation. Somewhere around 1910, this hot new music was described by a new term, jazz. There are conflicting versions of what the word meant and why it was used, but by the outbreak of the First World War, the word was used throughout the country. World War I saw Black Americans going to Europe for the first time in large numbers. The segregated Black military outfits had their own bands and introduced Europeans to jazz. James Reese Europe took an outstanding group of musicians through France as the head of the 369th Infantry Band, the Army's most famous musical ensemble. This coincided with another major influence, the growth of the recording industry. Records spread jazz throughout the world. To Europeans, it represented the freedom found in American performance styles. To American musicians, it represented a challenging new way of approaching music. By the mid-20s, there were bands calling themselves jazz orchestras all over the United States, and the era itself was christened the Jazz Age. All musicians, Black and white, understood the principles of swing and improvisation. Not all jazz will be loved by all people, but anyone who understands the history and development of the art and the dedication and genius of the true jazz performance can appreciate its beauty and depth. Today, different artists reinterpret the music according to their own sensibilities, and new listeners bring their own tastes and understanding to the music. Ultimately, it becomes, like all art, a dialogue between the artist and the audience, a dialogue that is still vital, still fun, and still America's gift to the world. WDN. Okay, let's get going. Hopefully we can do him justice. Jazz. Start with rhythm, start with the heart, drumming in tongues. Along the Nile, a Black man's drum speaks love. Start with rhythm, start with the heart. Work songs, gospel, triumph, despair, voices lifted from the soul. Louie, Louie, how you play so sweet. Louie, Louie, how you play so sweet. What have you heard down on Bourbon Street? I heard London, turned it black and blue. Heard Copenhagen, played it my way too. Heard a sad song, swung it into joy. Heard a bad tune, spanked it like a naughty boy. Louie, Louie, how you play so sweet. What have you heard down on Bourbon Street? America's music. What did the world see? What did the world hear? Black men sweating in 4/4 time, behind the beat, around the beat, bending the in-between, strings crying like midnight widows, horns tearing down Jericho walls, a clarinet sassing its way through a Sunday night sermon, and the chorus calling out blues and ragtime and jazz from Mississippi to Harlem, while the folks across the ocean were just saying America. Oh, Miss Kitty. Oh, Miss Kitty, she's as round as she is tall. I said, oh, Miss Kitty, she's as round as she is tall. Ain't nothing about Miss Kitty you would say is small. Dance, Miss Kitty, dance till the break of dawn. You been dancing, Miss Kitty, since the day that you were born. Oh, Miss Kitty, she's in love with the piano man. Tickle them ivories, boy. Oh, Miss Kitty, she's in love with the piano man. Hit the white keys, too. He's a slitty-eyed gangster, but plays like he got a plan. Dance, Miss Kitty, dance till the break of dawn. You've been dancing, Miss Kitty, since the day that you were born. What that saxophone man doing? He plays it high, and he plays with so much feeling. Yeah, he plays it high, and he plays with so much feeling. Go get some water, 'cause he's burning up the ceiling. Dance, Miss Kitty, dance till the break of dawn. You've been dancing, Miss Kitty, since the day that you were born. Stride. We got jiving in our bones, and it won't leave us alone. We're really moving. We got pride in our stride, and we know it's all the style. We're steady grooving. This piano's hard and driving, and the tones are getting to me. Hear them talking. There's a glide to the ride, and the feeling's coming through me. The bass is walking. I hear singing in my heart. Yes, it's rhythm. Yes, it's art. No use in stalling. I got jump in my feet, and I'm turning up the heat. Left hand hauling. I'm out here swinging from the start. Can't get no higher. We got bump in the beat where the crazy rhythms meet. This band's on fire. Goodbye to old Bob Johnson. Well, goodbye to old Bob Johnson. We'll haul his body slow. There's a white horse a-striding, a sad deacon riding, 6 men to lay him low. The drums are solemn as we walk along. The banjo twangs a gospel song. Let the deacons preach and the widow cry, while a sad horn sounds a last goodbye. Goodbye to old Bob Johnson. Goodbye. Faster. Move along, Bob Johnson. I know you're striding high. Yes, the church band is swinging and the sisters are singing a jazzy lullaby. We told St. Peter that you're on your way. You brought your horn and you're here to stay. We're stepping and we're hipping and we're dipping too. We're celebrating, syncopating, and it's all for you. The trumpets blow some hot licks and they start to climb along the road to heaven in 4/4 time. Every face is smiling and every eye is dry. Goodbye, Bob Johnson, goodbye. 20-finger Jack. Well, the walls are shaking and the ceiling's coming down, 'cause 20-finger Jack has just come back to town. The keyboard's jumping and the music's going round and round. If he had any sense, he left it in the lost and found. Here we go. Beep bop booty boo. Beep bop booty beep bop 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 booty boo. There's a steady beat walking and the melody's talking too. If you ain't moving, there must be something wrong with you. My knees don't like it, but my feet just got to dance. My heels can't follow, but my toes will take a chance. Beep bop booty boo. Beep bop booty beep bop 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 booty boo. Drop your blues and throw away that frown, 'cause 20-finger Jack has just come back to town. Bebop. Oh, bebop, bebop, oh wee, oh bebop, bebop, don't you dig I'm free? Oh, bebop, bebop, so you dig my jive? This jazz that I'm playing is keeping me alive. The sweet honey changing and the mood rearranging and the axe that I'm grinding and the melody I'm finding goes screamin', goes screamin', goes screaming to the moon. Oh, bibbity bop bop, oh wee, oh bibbity bop square, can't mess with me. A bibbity bop snake can't bite my style, but a bibbity bop chick can stay a while. 'Cause the jazz that we're playing and the licks that we're laying and the dues that we're paying and the blues that we're slaying go screamin', go screamin', go screamin' to the moon. Oh yeah. Session 1. Bass thumping like death gone happy, souls dancing in 2/4 time. Lady leans against the upright, breathing sounds and tasting the rhyme of her song. A shaved reed tongue is cryin' in the blood-dark studio. Drums add bark and grumble as a trumpet blares something rude. Let's get it on. It's a field holler melody dressed in a three-piece suit. A lifetime of could have been sliding through a silver flute. It's our song. A sultry love song, sassy as a summer day, goes dancing from my heart and fills my mind with such sweet things to say. Like, I love you oh so much, and I tremble when you touch my hand. Can you understand? Or can't you really see what your beauty does to me, and your every word to me is my command? It's our song, our love song. Can you hear it's just beginning? Or am I just imagining those precious sounds? It's a warm night, and much to my delight, my heart beats like a cool jazz bass, making a special place for us to follow as we walk on the edges of a dream, or as that horn man painting the edges of a love moonbeam. Are those chords the heart of reason, or is this just the silly season to fall in love? The melody and beat are blending to a happy ever-ending for you and me. It's a love song, a sultry love song, all right. Blue creeps in. Blue peeps in. Blue sits on my windowsill, waiting for me to come out, to swing out onto the empty avenue and go walking through the rainy streets the way we used to do. Blue puts her arms around me. Blue starts in to astound me. With her witty repartee, Blue walks a little bit ahead and turns to see me, and her smile reminds me of you too. We wander through the summer rain and don't mind getting slightly damp because we're so much in love that nothing matters in this whole world. But the moment and the fact that we're together, no matter what the weather, it's all laughter and no boo-hoo. Then it's time for me to go home, and in that direction I start to roam down familiar streets. I nod at the neon lights, and they wink back in sweet affection. The wet streets shimmer goodnight. The raindrops hiss their sorry sighs, 'cause they know just how very much I'm missing you. Session 2. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Please have mercy, Mr. Slide Trombone. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Please have mercy, Mr. Slide Trombone. My baby's gone and left me. I got to play till midnight, then go home all alone. The piano man is tinkling all up and down the keys. The drummer man is working, his rhythm got me on my knees. I'm playing E-flat minor on my saxophone, but I still know I got to go home all alone. So have mercy, mercy, mercy. Have mercy, Mr. Slide Trombone. But mercy, mercy, mercy. Have mercy, Mr. Slide Trombone. Have mercy, Mr. Slide Trombone. How I come in. There's crazy rhythm in the drums. You can feel it when it comes. It's so cool. You can hear the bass man humming as his fingers start to strumming. He's steady stroking in a music pool. The pianos come alive, and I know that she'll be driving through the night, and it's so right. You know. And now I come in. This horn is my heart, and I've got to play my part that takes you to another place and time. This melody from memory makes harmonies that reach to be so much more than a simple tune or rhyme. I'll take you as far as I can go. I'll blow as hard as I can blow. I'll reach for the stars, blow notes around Mars, and then you come in, and then you come in. Three voices. Bass, thumb, 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 and thumbing. I feel the ocean rhythm coming. Thumb, 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 and thumbing. I feel the midnight passion humming. Piano. Sweet and gentle, so surprising. Music fills us, hear it rising. Like a charming angel choir, reaching, preaching souls on fire. Horn. What can I add with my horn? Is it a new sound born because we are together? Or is it just a melody that's leading me to where I want to be and loosed from my tether? And is it really not surprising that our spirits are all rising and drawing us even higher? 3 souls on fire. It's jazz. I hear the call of the cornet. I hear a swinging clarinet. They're playing hot jazz in the heat of old New Orleans. The rattling banjo pays its dues to the preservation blues. They're playing hot jazz in the heat of old New Orleans. There's a crazy syncopation, and it's tearing through the nation, and it's bringing sweet elation to every single tune. It's jazz. There's a drummer rat-a-tatting. There's a patent shoe that's patting, while a laid-back cat is scatting about flying to the moon. It's jazz in the heat of New Orleans. That's the end. They did list a glossary of jazz terms, which is awesome, but we don't need to go through and read all of those right now. And a jazz timeline. Well, I loved it, though I might have read some of it wrong. We can continue to take jazz lessons for ourselves, guys. Good night, sleep tight. Auntie Kiki loves you.